How are we doing, everybody? Welcome back to the Shaun Attwood channel. I'm Ron Swanson, and this is a very, very quick live stream. Yesterday, I'll be honest, the Epstein files situation it sort of got put on the back shelf when everything that happened at Charlie happened. And yesterday, there was this, what do they call it? Judicial, what do they call it? Judiciary committee before the House committee. Let's go with that. And, you know, I don't watch very much of these things because they're long. The ones about the UFOs are mad. Like, the British government has openly admitted to off-world shenanigans in these things. Anyway, so yesterday I'm sitting watching this, and I watched about 4.5 hours of this. And I'm really sorry. Kash Patel. Like, I don't know what is going through this guy's head. Like, you seen me when he was on the Joe Rogan show. I completely lost my mind. He's the current chief of the FBI. What is he doing going around on podcasts? And all the things that he said about the official ending of Epstein being official and there's nothing to worry about. Excuse me, I have had like hair driving me mad all day. I don't know where it is or what it's doing, but it's tickling me. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing, right? Now, we need to think about this logically. If Trump was in the Epstein files, the Biden administration would have leaked it everywhere, right? Unless somebody has something on the Biden administration and they're forcing them to keep it quiet. But why would they do that? So, Kash Patel, keep in mind, how long have they had these files? Like 10 years, something like this? Maybe not, maybe a while. He was openly explaining that he has not seen all of the Epstein files, but can categorically tell you, do not worry, because anything dodgy, right, the FBI would bring to your attention. And there's a couple of moments during yesterday that I want to go over, and this is one of them. So let's just watch this through.
Statement by Marco Rubio, then Senator, urging the U.S. to, quote, ensure that data from U.S. companies is not harvested by the Chinese Communist Party through the purchase of Xi'an software and technology.
All right, hang on 1 second.
Publicize documents through Congress, yes, when we make these
This is a long stream. You just need to bear with me.
findings.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like unanimous consent to insert the record outsourcing justice by the law
This is the guy that looks like he got bitten on the head by a vampire. Okay.
Enforcement Legal Defense Fund that I alluded to before. I would ask unanimous consent to add a 2024 list provided by the Center for Immigration Studies on these United Nations and other affiliated groups that are responsible over 200.
I'm just going to let this guy talk. It's the guy that comes up after this. And I'm really concerned about how a man can be in charge of the Epstein files, can be in charge of bringing it to all of our attention. And when he's asked questions about, do we not think that the public deserve to know and see all of the tape? Here we go.
Request. One is a letter from Senator Tom Cotton, dated last year, urging the U.S. to, quote, ensure that data from U.S. companies is not harvested
You're not wrong.
by the Chinese Communist Party through the purchase of Xi'an software and technology.
Objection.
And also statement by Marco Rubio, then Senator Marco Rubio, which warned our UK allies about, quote, Xi'an's deep ties to the People's Republic of China.
Without objection.
Also, crime is the record crime is down in 2025. Trump doesn't deserve credit, which demonstrates that the crime rates have been decreasing since 2023, which was published by the Vera
Without objection.
Institute. Also, a unanimous consent request to enter into the record a NPR report from July of 2024. GOP vows to make America safe again. Statistics contradict their growing crime claims.
Without objection.
Also, a report out of the American Presidency Project dated January 17, 2025, record low crime during the Biden-Harris
5 hours of this I sat through yesterday.
administration.
Without objection.
Also, Joe Biden is correct that violent crime is near a 50-year low, which was a PolitiFact publication of May 2024. And last but not least, a FBI releases 20.
Also, no. I need to say things so slowly for your like pond life intelligence here. No. Ronald does not have a Discord to dox people who have been talking badly about Charlie. I was reporting on it and that individual. Okay, so again, just pay attention, my simpleton friend.
24 reported crimes in the nation. Statistics. These are FBI statistics published on August 5th, 2025, which details decreases in murder, rape, aggravated assault, and robbery in 2024.
Without objection. Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized for unanimous consent.
Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to submit two sets of documents. The first is a series of emails from the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. They are making FOIA requests to get their own FBI files and not having any success. So I want to bring attention to that by submitting that to the record. The second document that I want to submit to the record, for the record, I know we don't usually read these. This one's not readable. It's completely redacted for the most part, the first 50 pages. This is actually the search warrant that was served on James O'Keefe for a diary that he had already given to the government 2 months before. And as it turns out, there were no indictments here, yet he still doesn't know why he was raided. And I think he deserves to know. So
Without objection.
thank you.
The chair now.
Okay, so you've seen the state of the redacted documents. You heard basically the current leader, the current man in charge of the FBI has a large financial stake in Xi'an. He has shares. He goes on to talk about the fact that he announced all of this before he got his job at the FBI and how it's all above board. And trust me, bro. Okay. But when it comes to the China side of things, it doesn't really make sense that we have this global panic over Chinese apps and technology data mining us, and the leader of the FBI has, shares in one of these companies. Now, the Trump side, the FBI, the Epstein files, right? I've got a 283-page document in a PDF file that is the birthday book that was given to Epstein by Ghislaine Maxwell, right? And it's a weird thing to look at, right? It's not a weird thing to exist, having somebody make a photo album or like a book of memories for a milestone birthday, fairly normal thing. And you got to remember, the creation of this birthday book happened at a time before Epstein was outed for the crimes that he was charged with. But you have to ask yourself, and you need to remind yourself of how weaponizable a situation like The world's built on blackmail. We've heard this, right? And we've spoken many times about if you've got a party going on and you slip something into somebody's drink to take them into another room to then put them in a situation when they're semi-conscious, like we heard in the Diddy trials, for a scenario to unfold where you're not really aware of what's going on, for that to be used as blackmail material is very, very, very believable. Okay, very, very, very believable. Now, I personally think we need to face this Donald Trump stuff head on, right? Because Patel was asked if his job is currently removing all traces from Donald Trump. No. Yes, it's Thursday night's a royal mess, mate. I just set up the live stream incorrectly. That was just user error on my fault. Royal mess is always a Thursday. It was my bad. So yeah, that was my fault, Maria. I do apologize. So lots to talk about in a royal mess tonight. We've got Trump in the UK meeting up with the king. There's a lot of shenanigans, but Patel being grilled and being, admitting that he's not seen all the files, admitting that he's got financial interest in Shein, which is apparently nothing for us to worry about. And the fact that he's been accused of removing FBI agents from other operations to focus in the redaction of Trump's name within the Epstein files. Now, let's ask ourselves, what does Ron think, right, could be going on, right, with the Epstein files and Trump? I think Trump could quite easily have gotten himself into a situation where he didn't realize some of the ladies that were around him were a year or two underage. I'm not saying anything happened with them, but I could very easily believe that there are photographs out there, like the ones that Patel was quizzed on during his this trial thing that went on, this committee meeting, where he was asked about images of Donald Trump that were found in a safe that showed Donald Trump with a bunch of scantily clad ladies sitting on his knees, all joking and laughing. Could I imagine Donald Trump in a scenario where he thought all of these women were 21 and one of them turns out to be 17? Yes. I could 100% see that. Could I imagine Donald Trump and Epstein bonding over their love for shenanigans with women? Not children, women. Yes. Yeah. Could I see an embarrassment enough amount of, I'm going to go to the freaking Playboy Bunny party on the Epstein Island, and he'll just be thinking to himself, oh, everything's above board. I could see all of that happening. Yes. I could see it all happening. Do I think Donald Trump is a PDF file? Not at this moment in time. Not at this moment in time, right? Do I think that it could quite easily fall into the terminology of Yes. Yes. Do I think that could be used against him? Yes. Do I think that would have been used against him by the previous political parties? Yeah. So I don't understand the mass panic that seems to be the reason for us not getting these Epstein files. And Kash Patel turning around and saying, everything needs to be gone through so that we can establish whether crimes have been committed, right? To establish whether or not a crime has been committed, and then we'll release it to the public. What? Surely. Oh yeah, Ron, you're fired. Yeah. Like, surely it should stand out as fairly obvious that the FBI director should have seen all of the Epstein files, should have gone through them all by now, should have gone through all of the video footage and all the rest of it. Because, as he put it, you know, does the public need to see a bunch of downloaded adult content, trying to put over the impression that the things that were found on hard disks and hard drives and all of this was simply legal downloaded adult material? What? For a start, who's downloading adult material? Right? Who's doing that? Who's doing that? Like, who's doing that? No one's doing that. Are they? Because no. In the same way as no one's downloading movies anymore. Okay? Believe it or not, how we consume media has walked tandem hand in hand with the regular and the adult content for a long time. You know, there's a reason Betamax. Do you know Betamax? Remember Betamax was the most superior of the two tapes, right? But Betamax was owned by Sony, and Sony said the adult industry can never use Betamax for their films. Bosh. So as soon as they made that decision, VHS became king. It's mad. It's mad. So media is consumed in the same way. When everyone went to streaming, everyone just started streaming. So to believe that Epstein had this downloaded catalog of like what vintage adult movies, it just seems a bit mad. You know what I'm saying? You could even further argue that if you were a collector of vintage adult material, then you would want it on VHS for the vintage factor. I mean, so it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I then seen an FBI spokesperson declare that Donald Trump was an agent. Working under. Did anybody see that? That Donald Trump is an agent. How he was collecting data on Epstein and all of this. I could believe that too. I could believe that too. Okay. I could believe that too. Maybe. Because that would explain to me why the previous administration didn't release anything about Trump. Because it would have made him look like an undercover hero, right? That would make sense, right? A little bit. That makes sense a little bit. Because if he was indeed an undercover agent, which sounds ridiculous the more I say it, I'm going to be honest. It does sound ridiculous, more ridiculous the more I say it. But that's what the dude said. He said he was working on as an agent gathering information on Epstein. He just came out and said it. I wish I must have it bookmarked. Hang on. My drag the URL into your like bookmarks bar is an absolute mess right now. No, I can't find it. But it was crazy. So the only reason I can come up with, if Donald Trump's in the Epstein files, that it wasn't used against Trump by the previous administration, is if why he was in there paints him in a good light. Right? But there's an awful lot of weirdness that's going on with wars and bunker busters and stuff. All right? And there's one theory that keeps floating around and we keep coming back to it, you know, who Ghislaine Maxwell's connected with, who it is that apparently has blackmail on the royal family, all this stuff, right? Because I'll tell you this right now, my G's. Blackmail is one of the tastiest routes of control that can take place in a political or economical warfare, right? Because what goes on behind closed doors and can be facilitated and recorded, we know damn well what can go on and what a position of power that can give to someone. Because wasn't that apparently what Epstein was doing for his whole life? Just you walked into his house and it was secret cameras everywhere, hooked up to VHS, then hooked up to hard drives, then up on the cloud, right? That's what we heard. And it was the same with Diddy. It was the same with Diddy. It was the same. It's a camera fest. Oh, however many terabytes of hard drives. Whenever there seems to be people in power and a narrative of blackmail, okay, it all seems to disappear. It's almost like it's completely fine for you to be a big freak show pervert, okay, as long as it's contained to you. Diddy, Epstein. What's going on with Diddy, by the way? Is he still alive? Like, what's going on, man? Let me just check, son. Like, what's going on there? Is he still in jail? Is he prosecutor? Oh no, he's still in jail. All right. Damn. So it's okay if you want to be a twisted pervert, right? If you're Epstein, it's totally fine if it's just you that all the evidence points towards. That's okay. It's the same if it's Diddy. It's okay if all the evidence points towards you. Okay? Making the Obama swedgers was a bold move, right? Like, you have to be taking quite a lot of swantines to be like, do you know what we need? Custom swantines. But when all of the cases have all of the evidence suddenly disappear, or hey, listen, you know, we can't be showing you what we've seen on these tapes. It disappears, and it's then absolutely fine for you to be hung out to dry, metaphorically speaking, and be the main source of evil in this story. And it's not taken away of how evil these people are, but the minute that it starts to leach out and touch what could be seen as the elites, other politicians, the higher echelons of society, it is quickly redacted and quickly becomes another tale of a lone pervert. So what is it really that is being hidden from us? Because I'm going to tell you this right now. I imagine at some point in the FBI's office, some poor member of staff could not figure out if it was a Diddy tape or an Epstein tape that he's just watched, because it's the same people in the same typecasting, just 2 decades apart. Like, do you see what I'm saying? And for people to not have the answers yet from the Epstein files, you know, we have to use this now as just absolute testament to the cover-ups and the individuals who seem to want to spoon feed us these false narratives. And the maddest thing is, we have just witnessed close to 3 million people walking through Britain peacefully, but yet the media reports on it like it was some sort of out of control fascist riot. And I think for the first time in history, the amount of people that bear witness to the truth because they were part of it outweighs the skepticism, outweighs those people that are not going to mention it or push back against the narrative because we've seen it. And it's very exciting. Now, Patel is grilled for 5 hours during this, and he's asked over and over again, why is he protecting PDF files? The American people want to know why he is at the forefront of protecting those on the Epstein's list. They did not pull back any punches. If you want to watch this, I'll send you the link. Because it goes on. You know, it really, really does. I'm going to try and find another clip of this, actually. Second. Cause yeah, they really tear him apart from every possible angle. And I think the worst thing for me was his defense was playing dumb. I've not seen the Epstein files. I can't give you the answer to that. I can't tell you if Trump is mentioned. I can't tell you this. I can't tell you that. It was maddening to think that this is who we're expecting answers from. This guy. Like, I think the way that Elon Musk handled his relations with Trump and the things that he posted on X can't be dismissed. But at the same time, if Elon had seen something in those files and then posted about it on X and then got updated with, you know, news of the undercover 0069, Donald Trump, FBI undercover, that's the sort of reason that would shut him up about it. He plays dumb as if it's his natural state. Honestly, I'm new to actually paying attention to politics and watching stuff like this, but I couldn't keep my eyes off it. I was like, this guy is he's just given the same 5 or 6 answers for 5 hours straight. But we all need to keep at the forefront of our mind that we've gone through 2 different, the right and the left have been in power since Epstein was caught. And all of this was gathered up. You know, let me just double check something as well. Hang on. Dun, dun. Was there not like a massive list of people that Trump was calling to court? I'm sure there was. I'm sure the Clinton administration is going to be getting slapped severely. But I can't find that now. I'll pull that up for the next live stream, because when things get announced and then everything kind of goes quiet, it always makes me a little bit concerned. Also, I thought this was quite interesting. 4 kids, well, a couple of kids and a couple of adults, used a projector to project this onto Windsor Castle before Trump turned up to meet the king. And you know, you gotta love the projector work there. That was good work. Because people who were involved with Epstein before there was illegal proof of what Epstein was, we can all say to ourselves, well, you know, they might have witnessed something. Well, they might have. But at the same time, they might have witnessed something and not realized they were witnessing something. You know, not all forms of trafficking are super in your face. Not all forms of what is technically an underage person is obvious that is an underage person. It's different if it's a 9-year-old, obviously. But it's very interesting how the underage factor, when it's, you know, just underage, can be weaponized in a situation like Epstein's or Diddy's. And how when we follow money trails on who's behind these people, who's funding global agendas, we seem to keep circling round to the same nation or two, you know? And it gets quite scary when we start looking at the Epstein files being in the hands of the right and the left. And for some reason, they've all been a bit sketchy on pulling the trigger on releasing it. Right? Like, that to me speaks more volumes than anything else. You know? It really does. So, especially with Biden, man. Guy. I mean, the guy walked around sniffing kids' heads. I'm sure if he could have done anything to paint anyone in a bad light from the Epstein list, he would have done. So that's what makes me think about it all. But then, right, then Charlie Kirk gets assassinated. And I'm like, who actually benefits from this? Right? Who actually benefits from this? Because I've got some pretty tough questions about all this. I seen some footage earlier today of what looks like a muzzle flash coming from the other direction of Charlie Kirk. And again, I don't understand why, right? That bit of footage where you've seen the alleged shooter of Charlie coming down off the roof and walking across the road. You've all seen that bit of footage, right? Where's the rifle? Like, where's the rifle? Why? Like, I've watched enough movies, right? That if I was to put together, what would I do in this scenario? Like, if I was a complete and utter lunatic trying to set this up, you're leaving the rifle, right? Like, you've already smuggled it in to a university. Why would you want to smuggle it back out again? Why? And then why would you wrap it in a towel and leave it in the bushes? Because if you've managed to make it so invisible that you can climb and walk across a road with it, surely just keep walking. Surely just keep walking at that point, because no one's picked up on it at that point. Why would you tuck it up in bed for a little nap? Honestly, it's going to sound really mad, but like, every now and again, something MK Ultra happens, and you're like, oh. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if it's because he's confessed to it or what, but why in God's name hasn't everybody been brought in and been arrested? Everybody on that Discord group, his flatmate, why are they all not part of this? Right? Because if I decide to go and do something crazy and there's no one else involved, I go to court, right? But if I sat down with 20 of my friends online and I'm like, I am serious about this. I am serious about stealing an avocado, okay? And we plot the great avocado heist, okay? And then I get arrested and it turns out I planned all this with a bunch of people. Are they not accountable a little bit? Because apparently in this country, if I turn around and say, on social media, I'm going to jail. Right? So I just find it a bit weird. I find it a bit weird. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've seen too many movies and I'm getting my legal advice from the movies. But I just don't know. Because it feels like the flatmate knew all about this. And technically, if you know about the great avocado heist and you don't tell anybody about it and you let it happen, is there not like mad laws in America where that's illegal? Because this is the place where, like, if you get caught in a car with a gun and the gun's linked to a crime, you all go to jail, right? Is that not right? Something like that. I don't know. I'm pulling things out my arse. But surely there's been cases where, I don't know, maybe I'm talking crap. Maybe I'm talking crap. Maybe that doesn't ever happen, but it should. So this 22-year-old, every now and again, something happens that I'm just like, oh, that's a bit MK Ultra, right? It really is. And have you seen the footage of like the guy that looks like he's wearing the weird plastic mask in the university? That is fever dream demon level, like, this. A gun is an automatic 5 years up your backside. Yeah. An accomplice to murder. You're going to. So what does it mean to be an accomplice? It would be like if I said to you, once I've done this, do you think I should leave the rifle or like wrap it up in a blanket and tuck it up for a nap in a bush? And then I go with your suggestion. That would mean that you're part of the plan, right? Utah is a concealed carry state. Listen. I'm not saying you cannot conceal carry in this state. I'm just saying there's a difference between a Glock and a hunting rifle. Okay. But in saying that, I mean, I've seen those videos where they've like proved a point about baggy trousers. There was this whole banning baggy trousers in American schools about 10 years ago. And it was a video of this kid standing there, and he was literally pulling out like an M4, a shotgun, all of this out of his trousers. I wasn't walking around, mind you, but I mean, it's not out of the question. It's not out of the question, but it's getting down it's climbing down a ladder or shimmying down something. Anything where your knees have to bend. That's where sticking it down your trousers sort of goes out the window a bit, right? The whole isn't from a 3 thing on YouTube ballistics. I mean, I heard would have been okay. See, I said this, right? I said this that Ron watches a lot of like Alaska stuff, right? Ron has watched a lot of shows where people are hunting and shooting stuff. Okay. And 9 times out of 10, there's 2 holes. There's where the bullet goes in and where the bullet comes out. Okay. And it's not like the width of a human neck is like the equivalent of a boar or a deer. It's not. It's tiny. And hunters will tell you all the time, right? A clean shot, it goes through the side-on shot, through the lung or through the heart. It comes out the other side. The deer usually goes bananas, and then you track it through its blood sign, and you've got your kill, right? I've seen the impact of this round from multiple angles now, and it's horrible to watch. But one thing that did make me question some things is how motion works, right? And if I come and push you from the right hand side like this, you're going to fall this way, right? So you have to assume then, if somebody was to be impacted here and that was the forward trajectory, that it would send me this way, right? But it didn't. And then you got all these guys standing around him doing all this stuff. And then now you've got this potential muzzle flash. And we've also got people that claim that the frame by frame found the bullet traveling through the air. It's getting to a really pile of sketchy, questiony stuff that I thought I was going to be able to put off until Charlie was in the ground. But it just can't be done. We can't just wait around. Now, I can't understand how Kash Patel got this job. He seems to be being played as a pawn for whatever absolute farce is going to be made of the release of the Epstein files. What do you? Where are you guys all landed on this? Because it's really easy to be caught up in the whole Charlie Kirk, friends with Donald Trump, left's bad stuff that's going on right now. Whereas, no, there's absolutely no way in hell on my Discord will there be any Charlie Kirk raw footage at all. This is all research Ron's doing in the background. There's a video that I would show you that's on YouTube, but even that's not like blurred enough for my liking. Epstein files distraction. See, I think there's powers that be out there that are smart enough to think to ours to the just are smart enough to think to themselves. If Charlie was to be unalived so publicly, I believe Charlie had just started. See, the thing with Charlie, right, was that he's not going to shut up once he's seen convincing data point entries that allude to individuals working against his country, right? Now, that's what's so beautiful about Charlie's position. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't bound by the rules and regulations of that. And he certainly had no allegiance to certain individuals that feel like the eradication of human life is just a laughing matter. And the more I look into what Charlie had begun, and when I say begun, I mean so lightly started to tread upon, we circle back to that nation, that individual, that not individual, but that seems to pop up again and again and again when it comes to stories of who is behind the alleged blackmail that seems to run the world. Because, baby, it would really make sense that in the Diddy house and in the Epstein house that was full of videos and recording equipment and all of this, it would kind of make sense if they were hired by someone to do that, that a lot of the evidence and the tapes may not necessarily be at the location where the cameras are. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because knowledge is power. Can't have it all lying around. I'm not saying that that's what's happened, but it would make sense to me that, let's say, there's an evil power behind the Epstein blackmail, Diddy blackmail machine, and the previous government, one who would have loved to have painted Trump in a terrible light, didn't release any information from the Epstein files. Well, all of these videos that they claim that they've had and watched through, I wonder how many governments have been told about other videos that they have that can be released if anything is released. Why does Ben Shapiro want to take over Turning Point? Well, look, I want to play two little things here. First of all, I seen this the other day, and I thought this was quite funny. I just wanted to play this for you guys.
Too much fun with his nuke button.
And the president looks over at me, puts the foreign leader on mute and says, "This is not going very well." And he presses the red button.
We know what button that is.
And my eyes get really big, and I'm like, "Mr. President, you know what just happened?"
What's this?
And he looks at me and he goes, "Nuclear."
Nuclear. What?
Nuclear.
Of course, you would just say nuke
And
button.
2 minutes later, a guy walks in
Nuclear.
with a Diet Coke, and he looks back at me and he says, "It wasn't nuclear. It's just the Diet Coke button."
Like, that's all I would do. Like, if I was Donald Trump, every time someone walked into my office, I would just like sit down, be on a phone, like, "Oh, is that right? Nuclear." Too good, right? I just wanted to play that for you guys. There was a clip of Charlie that I tried to play at the end of my last live stream when I was covering whatever the hell we were talking about earlier, Charlie's live stream, and on the updates of him. And I'm going to show you that clip because where the hell's it gone? Also, as well, it's very suspicious what videos YouTube seems to want to store as videos that I've previously watched compared to the videos I've actually like. It always seems like whenever there's something spicy going on, it's like, well, we'll just make sure you can't find this again. But just this is really where I think the scary end of just watch this.
Is now Bibi and the Israeli hard right government has a mandate. I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. I mean that's and I don't use that term lightly. Okay, they're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people. From there, okay, and honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. There is this idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty. That's moral. After you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets, but there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
So there's a few occasions. He was even one occasion where I believe he was talking to Ben Shapiro, and he brings up a certain nation and their tactics, shall we say? Okay, hang on a sec. Lisa B has just posted this. It's funny you say that, right? Because this is the exact thing that came to mind when we watched it happen, right? Hawaii real estate. Is he not in our side chat? Is that somebody else? No, maybe I'm imagining it. So there is a lot of tiny weaponry, right? And they fire tiny little bullets, 2.2s, little tiny things. Some of them fold up, some of them you can 3D print. I mean, I've seen people make rudimentary firearms out of spark plugs with springs that you pull back and all this stuff. And the things that we can try and understand is the noise that we heard, right? The bullet sounding, the actual crack and sound of the bullet. And sadly, what we can learn from the impact. But red misting someone, it's not really a thing. You've got various types of bullet. It's either going to go into you and then come straight out the other side, okay? Or it's going to go into you and fragment. Now, that's it. Like if you fire a round that's designed to fragment and it hits someone in the head, it's not going to red mist them. It's going to put a tiny little hole here and then a melon-sized hole here. What I witnessed was confusing because it honestly looked like an invisible person just walked up and clipped his freaking jugular vein. I've never seen anything like it. It's terrifying. It makes you want to just wear like a stainless steel neck guard. SA80 is 6.56. Yeah, I think we're out of the realm of If we're really going to be discussing a world where this was a rogue state or a secret world government that took him out, there ain't people pulling triggers anymore. People, there's no human beings pulling triggers. I guess that's not happening. Like you send in the Terminator drone and it just goes and it's done. You know, of course you do. You know, why would you send a human being in to do something like this when technology that you don't know exists can do it way better? You still set up a patsy and all the rest of it, or activate MK Ultra person 55212115, whatever. Because people need a pound of flesh. People need to close the book. But the book is getting closed on a narrative that, as far as I can tell, has so many holes in it right now that it's terrifying. And the fact that Kash Patel is still withholding the FBI, the Epstein files, all of the facts, withholding who is on the footage that they've seen, that he doesn't know who appears. He knows nothing about nothing on the biggest case of human transportation and alleged mass PDF indulgence that took place on his island. And Kash Patel and the 5 hours that he was pressed yesterday amounted to a man that seems to be more terrified of saying the wrong thing because of what is in those files, that he, as he so boldly puts it, he has not seen the whole contents of the Epstein files. Leader of the FBI 2025, people. It makes no sense. So I want to know what you guys are thinking. Comment section, side chat, whatever. Before we close this down, it's side chat. I want you to tell me, where are you guys standing with Trump and the Epstein files? Why do you think there is this narrative that he is this predatory monster? Obviously, he doesn't help himself with some of the shenanigans he's been up to, you know, adult entertainers, you know, slapping people on the coochie, all this kind of stuff. And before he was president, he was a billionaire playboy. So I imagine there's some stuff, okay? I imagine there is some stuff. Doesn't mean that he is a pizza-loving ping pong player. I don't know. Don't think so. I just don't think so. I just don't think so. I can totally see him getting himself involved in something he can't talk his way out of now, though. 100%. 100%. But at the same time, what the hell do we all know? I mean, he could be a saint. He could be the biggest monster ever. We just don't know. You know? But what I will say is Kash Patel, the Epstein files, the unaliving of Charlie, the unaliving of Virginia Roberts, this new reshaping of the narrative. I just watched 60 Minutes interview with Virginia Giuffre's family. Man. Like, how much actual crap are we meant to be spoon-fed and believe? And he worked in the Southern District of Florida. Yeah, listen, do you know what's crazy? Like, you find out mad things like Keir Starmer, our current prime minister, was part of the committee that didn't think there was anything suspicious and Jimmy Savile shouldn't be brought to court. He was also the one that hired Mandelson, who'd just been fired for being super best friends. What? What? This is the guy we've got in power now. And apparently they've just signed a new trade deal, right? I'm sorry, no offense, America, right? We don't want any of your crap, right? Like, there's apparently a food deal that's been bartered with America. You can keep it all, please. We don't want any of your Monsanto, like, freak of nature crap here. Just take it all back, please. Unless you got some good old-fashioned Texan ground grass-fed beef Okay, I'm well up for some of your grass-fed beef. But nah. It's okay. It's okay. We've got Clarkson. Clarkson is going to feed us all. All right. I think next year, starting after the New Year's, I think what I might do is spend a year establishing how well can one person supply the vegetables for themselves, right? Or their little community. Because I've got a lot of garden that I don't use. And years ago, I used to be part of a team that it filmed on Channel 4, River Cottage, and it was the land share program, where people who had no garden would take over the garden of somebody who couldn't manage their garden for growing vegetables, and they would split the crop. And I went mad with this. I think I had like 4 or 5 gardens in my area that I maintained. I used to update it on the Channel 4 website. They used my vlog for one of the episodes. Total nerd when it comes to that stuff. And it was great fun. It was great fun. So I might give that a little try. I might even try and sneak a chicken in and see how that goes. But Trump, the Epstein files, the Biden administration, what they released, what Trump's released, arguably, I feel like we've seen way more progress, even though it's been the most bizarre navigation through that progress with Trump than we have anyone else. Horse meat. Nothing wrong with horse meat as long as you know you're eating horse meat. Okay? Just to be clear. Because there was a case in the UK where one of the local supermarkets had their budget hamburgers tested and it came back as having horse meat. And the whole nation lost their mind. 1 second. The whole nation lost their freaking mind. That eating horse meat was like freaking eating a dog or something. The French love a bit of horse. It is so beautiful. Le pom pom. They love it. Okay. And fair play them. Fair play. All right. But at least tell them that they're eating horse meat. Okay. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Mystery meat. No. You know what I'm saying? No eating dogs. Nah. I mean, obviously, I've got ADHD, and as soon as I say no, we don't eat dogs, my brain has given me multiple reasons where I could justify eating dogs. Okay, multiple scenarios. None of them have a world that isn't like Mad Max, though. Okay, do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what I'm saying. I'm telling you, 9 days into the apocalypse, and all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? That little West Highland Terrier down the road's looking pretty tasty. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And I'll tell you something else. It's funny because you all get to sit there and go, oh, no, that's terrible, Ron. You wait and see, right? When your children have missed 9 meals your kids have gone without. 9. And you wait and see how freaking polite and nice you are then. Because I'm telling you now, the poodle, the cat, the squirrel, all these things are going to start looking delicious by the time your kids have missed 9 meals. Oh, no chance. You are all idiots. You are 9 meals from anarchy, 9 meals away from anarchy at any point. Okay. And trust me, I get it. It's a horrible thought to think of society breaking down and us having to go out and hunt what will become urban creatures. Okay. I get it. It's not a nice thought. I get it. Doesn't mean it wouldn't happen. Doesn't mean you're not capable of doing it. And doesn't mean that you would sit down with your children and go, oh, kids, yeah, daddy's going to let you starve now because we can't eat the doggy outside. Okay. Shut up. Absolutely shut up respectfully. So yeah. Oh yeah, you can definitely eat rats. But here's the thing. It's a lot harder to catch a bunch of rats than it is to go, Fido! Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what will happen. the mindset of the people who break forth and start eating animals in situations where there is no rule of law will start with the easiest of prey, which will just be calling the prey over, right? Once all those are being eaten, okay, it's on to cats, which are a bit more wily. And, you know, rats and things like this. So I will say this, if you ever want to learn, if you only ever learn one form of trap, it's the figure of 4 deadfall trap. Okay, it's one of the only forms of scalable trap with the exact same mechanism, regardless of how big you make it. And you need something roughly 3 to 4 times heavier than what it is you're killing. Ron just won't listen. He rambles. Got to go. Who am I listening to? I've got no one here. It's just me. It's just me. I'm just listening to myself. Who am I not listening to, Deborah? It's just me that's here. Ron will not listen. Say something. Actually say something. I'm scrolling back through to see if you said anything. You're not even saying anything. You just came in and started moaning. I love roasted potatoes.
His name is John.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Fair dues. Poke fun at Ron. Great. Kick Ron about. Just come in, talk about roast potatoes, and then I'm apparently the one that doesn't listen, right? Roast potatoes are awesome. I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge the potato. And you've said that because I said I wanted to grow potatoes. See, we don't have that's a conversation. That is not only just listening, that's a conversation. It's a conversation, baby. All right. So, how you doing, Helen? Stop! Helen J. What's happening? Hello from North Carolina. Hello back at you, North Carolina. How are you? I do like the South, like the accents. I think the South do some of the best accents in America. I'm all right. Well, I mean, apart from the fact that I'm being told I don't listen, okay? And I think I'm very attentive, actually. I'm not. I don't listen at all. I'm anti-meat now. Don't be anti-meat. Meat's delicious. It's delicious, but it's crazy. The limitations that's put on us to be able to feed and gather our own meats in this country. Because in America, hunting's very much like the spit and sawdust foundation of America, right? Like in this country, hunting is very much like the elitist sport or gamekeeping, right? That's it. There's no like, oh, I'm going to go out and do some hunting and maybe get myself a deer this season. No. With ADHD, I listen to my thoughts more than anybody else. Yes. But it's the fact that it's 4 or 5 different voices that your thoughts come in. I can relate. Do you know what I mean? I seen a TikTok or a YouTube video the other day about how neurotypical people talk about going to bed early. Like, going to bed early? So if I go to bed at 9 o'clock, I'm in bed early, but I'm still awake for the next 6 hours. Right? Oh yeah, hunting's definitely in more rural areas. Of course, Mrs. Mac. Because in the cities, there's not many city deers, Shelby. Right? Just in case you didn't know. If Mac's been telling you that he's going out hunting and he's just been driving about at night, I've got some news for you, Shelby. Okay? I've got some news for you. Actually, that would be quite funny. Like, yeah. I'm just saying. Ron is currently speaking what's in all of our minds. We have Ron's what? Do you, Shelby? Oh, we have tons of deer. No, I get that. I do get that. We've got deer in Edinburgh as well. Like literally last week, I didn't open a curtain. The hall doesn't have a curtain. But looked out the curtain. Shut up! Looked out the window, and there's a deer in the park right next to me. And I live in the middle of the city, so that they are here, okay. But they're just, it's just a bit less abundant than going. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're more abundant. Maybe they're safer in the city. I don't know. Okay. But urban deer hunting, get it started. Yeah, these little deers can't be moving into our cities, right? Eating up our grass, okay? eating up our grass and like leaving their little poop droppings everywhere. Nah, mate. Nah, not on my watch. Not a jerky time. That's what it is. Let's fire up the smoker, baby. Shelby's urban deer jerk. You know what I'm saying? Business model. So what the hell are we meant to be talking about? Kash Patel. Yeah, Kash Patel, man. Go and watch that 5-hour long madness from yesterday. He gets his ass whipped. But look, I need to go and have some food before the next live stream. Live again at 7:30 with a royal mess, and then at 9 o'clock with part 2 of my interview with Pastor Dave, legend. Lots more on Charlie Kirk to come. They fed us human meat here in the USA without our knowing. Yeah, probably. We're probably all eating a little bit of person. I'm not saying we knew about it, okay? Also, I just want to point out the number one thing used in organic farming is shrimp meal. So just next time a vegan tells you that their food doesn't consume animals, let them know that 90% of the organic veg that they eat, 90% of it has been grown with shrimp meal. Ha! 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 Neener! That's a big neener. So, yeah. Let that settle in, vegans. Let that settle in. Shrimp meal. Yeah, shrimp meal. It's a byproduct of the mass fishing industry. Do you know how many weird byproducts there are, Louise, from the shrimping? Do you know, Louise, there's boats, okay? That are just, they are so big, right? They go out to sea, they do the dragon form of fishing, right? And they're pulling up 1 gillion tons of fish at a time. And then then all the fish get separated and they go down to another level. And there's dudes there that are just, they're gutting the fish and they're cutting the fish and they're gutting the fish and they're cutting the fish. And then the fish get filleted and all this stuff. And the meat goes one way and the innards go the other way. And then the meat goes in one box and then this mad paste gets made. The paste. The paste. It's mad. It's mad. And everything is caught, processed, packaged, frozen on these mega ships. There's some more knowledge no one asked for. Mad, right? It's mad. These ships are huge. They are huge. Huge, huge. Oh, yeah. Yeah, anytime you see anything, all natural ingredients. Do you know what I'm saying? There used to be a scent gland. I think there's a scent gland inside a beaver, right? No, it's not a beaver. Can't be a beaver. There's a scent gland inside something anyway that tastes exactly like raspberries. Natural ingredient. It's kind of messed up. See, I trust kebab meat, right? Do you know what's crazy? The fact that I almost got into a conversation about kebab meat. That's the first thing. Let's just leave it there. Because Ron is so easily side questioned right now. McDonald's burgers do not decompose. It's kind of scary. It really is kind of scary. I love raspberry anything. Well, yeah, maybe it's vanilla and not raspberry. I can't remember, but there's a bunch of stuff that comes from animals that you'd be mortified to find out that it came from an animal. And most of it flies under the flagship of natural flavorings and colorings. So, yeah. Our ice cream doesn't melt. So many weird ice creams. Like, there's so many weird ice creams. Listen, we're not doing this. Nice try. Nice try. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. I'm ending the live stream. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for being awesome. Bye. Oh, God, it's so awkward sometimes. Why is it so